Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Bucket with Joe. Good morning, everyone. Joe here. It's time for Pucket with Joe. We've got an absolutely loaded slate out there on the ice with one game kicking off at the top of the hour. So we're going to jump into all of the games here today, every which way I would take these games, as well as looking at some player props. Now, if you don't have time to stick around, make sure you do come back. I will bookmark when that recap is and when those long shot player prop parlays are built. So we're going to jump right into things. We did have success yesterday out there on the slate. This was yesterday's slate. We were able to get the Washington Capitals in the first period on that puck line. We laid the half a goal on the puck line. If you tailed with me, we got them there. That was at plus 172. Now, Ovi did get us that goal. Dylan Strome, great game out of him. He had 2 goals and 2 assists. The Capitals won that one 5-1 versus the Minnesota Wild. We then saw the Red Wings be able to get the win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, we didn't see their team total go over, but they did get us at straight up plus money on the money line last night, winning it in OT. So if you rode with them at plus 132, you were in the money. Chicago wasn't able to get things done as they did lose in a shootout last night, 3-2. And the San Jose Sharks, I tell you, this team's so frustrating out there. They couldn't even get us a goal in the first period for both teams to cash in the first period. That would have got us great plus money, but hopefully you did take Macklin Celebrini and Jeff Skinner for those point parlays that we recommended. We saw Celebrini got the 2+ points as well. And Skinner ended up getting 2 points. Toffoli came out with a goal. Clayton Keller, 4 points, and Smoltz, 4 points for the Utah Mammoths. So great game out there for both of those teams and getting the points on the board for us. So excited for that. Seeing you guys starting to pop in here. We got a loaded slate, so let's jump into it. This is today's slate. Saturday definitely doesn't disappoint out there on the ice. That first game kicking off at 1 p.m. Eastern here between the Florida Panthers and the Buffalo Sabres. Florida in a little bit of trouble right now, you guys. They have, after starting off hot, winning their first 3 home games, lost their last 3 road games. They'll be taking on a Buffalo Sabres team that is coming in off their first win. Then you've got the Islanders and the Senators, the Oilers versus the Devils, the Kraken versus the Maple Leafs, the Rangers versus the Montreal Canadiens, the Wild versus the Flyers, the Columbus Blue Jackets in action at home versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are coming off a loss to the Rangers, and then the Stars versus the Blues. Stars coming off that loss to Vancouver. The Predators versus the Jets. The Bruins versus the Avs. The Bruins kept it tight with Vegas in their last game out. And the Carolina Hurricanes versus the LA Kings. Those later 10 p.m. Eastern matchups are the Calgary Flames in a rematch here with the Vegas Golden Knights. Calgary will have Jonathan Huberdeau back on the ice tonight. We're going to see how he does. And those pesky Sharks are back in action, taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. So lots to get to on today's slate. I do have a couple of things that we're going to go over. We're going to look at who's leading in goals and who's leading in points. With this first game kicking off, though, I do want to get to the first game first, and then we'll go over that, and then we'll start looking at the next set of games, because the next set of games does kick off that little bit later. So looking at your comments coming in here, you guys. Happy Saturday to you as well. Let's make some freaking money out there. Big bounce back coming, especially for some of these teams that need those bounce back situations. So looking at the first game out there, it is the Florida Panthers versus the Buffalo Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres are a home dog, and you guys know I love a home dog. They're plus 128, total of 5.5. In this matchup. Bobrovsky is confirmed between the pipes for the Florida Panthers. He's been solid to start. He's looked nice and sharp between the pipes, the 1.77 goals against average. I do think he's going to be solid in this one. Alex Leon on the other side, even though his record's 1-3, he's still got a 911 save percentage. I think momentum here is a huge thing to look at. Now, there's another game where I'm throwing momentum out of it, but the Buffalo Sabres with the momentum, with the 8-4 win over the Ottawa Senators in their last game, out with their aggressiveness in transition, how they were able to play at that faster pace. I'm looking for them to bring that here versus the Florida Panthers. You look at the Florida Panthers, they are getting 25% conversion on their power play, averaging 2.5 goals per game on 27.8 shots. They're allowing 2.83 goals per game on 24.5 shots on goal. So even though Bobrovsky's numbers are great, it's limited. The defense is limiting those danger shots on him. Their kill is great as well, 90%. We're looking at an elite kill, though, here for the Buffalo Sabres. And I'm surprised with this number. They're killing off 93.7% of their opponent's power play opportunities. And this team is averaging 28.5 shots on goal per game. I think the Sabres win this in a lower scoring game. Both of these teams averaging under 3 goals per game. And we know how solid both of these kills are, how solid these defenses are as well. Now, we also look at the Florida Panthers. They've scored a total of 4 goals across 3 straight road losses. So this is a team that while they are still getting those shots, they're not generating those high danger shots. And I do think Alex Leon will be okay limiting the Florida Panthers today. The defense is going to hold them off, not allow those high danger ones. And we're going to see this one stay under that total. So the under 5.5 currently coming in at plus 108. So if you do like Buffalo, take them on the money line. I've already took them on the money line at plus 128. I think they have every opportunity of continuing with momentum here. Now, I'm going to stay off player props in this one, but just some trends to know. And I don't have a lot of player props today, you guys, in all honesty. This slate is so big, coming up with everything for you guys today. We will put some player props together, but Carter Verhaeghe has scored a goal in the Panthers' last 3 games versus the Buffalo Sabres. I will be going with Carter Verhaeghe, even though this is a lower scoring game. Verhaeghe with those kind of stats, I will take a shot. He's plus 275 for the anytime goals. So that is the first game here. I want to get into a couple of things. We're going to look at Adam Fox, the top defenseman here he's for the New York Rangers, but he is the top defenseman for goals this season. Adam Fox from the New York Rangers is someone you definitely want to keep your eye on. He's number 23 out there on the ice. He's already got 3 goals. When we go down the list, you know Cale Makar is hungry to tie that up. Cale Makar out there for the Colorado Avalanche will be in action today as well. He's already netted 2. You've got lots of playmakers out there. I just wanted to show you where these guys are sitting with their ability to get those goals. So Adam Fox currently leading defenseman in goals right now. When we look at the player who is leading in assists out there on the ice, and this brings me to the point of how dangerous Vegas is right now. Mark Stone is leading in assists. Mark Stone with 9 assists on the season. He's already got 2 more assists than William Nylander of the Toronto Maple Leafs and Nick Suzuki of the Montreal Canadiens. Both of those guys sitting there with 7. Fourth on the list, though, is Jack Eichel. He is a teammate from the Vegas Golden Knights. And then you go down, you got Martin Necas rolling in with 6 as well. Something to always keep an eye on, looking at how these playmakers are doing out there on the ice. Again, Mark Stone leading the league with assists at 9. You're also looking at Pavel, I can never say his name every time I say it. Anyway, he's leading right now with 6 goals for the Vegas Golden Knights. It's surprising to see him right Dorofeev. There we go. As soon as I read it, I can't say it. It's got to come from my memory. That's my Australian wanting to change the O's and the E's, and you know how it goes. But Shane Pinto is second with 6, so they are tied right there. And then Jack Eichel, 5 goals, you guys. So Jack Eichel making the top 2 boards for assists and for goals out there. It is a dangerous Vegas team right now. So definitely something you want to keep in mind when you're looking today. Mark Scheifele, one thing to note, Mark Scheifele today at the Winnipeg Jets is looking to break a record. I am taking him for the anytime goal. So if you just take one thing from the show, get Mark Scheifele for the anytime goal. He's already got 5 on the season. Seth Jarvis coming in with 5 and Cole Caulfield, Matt Boldy with 4, and then it goes down from there. So Shane Pinto, Dorofeev here leading right now in goals in the league. So Vegas is dangerous. That is long story short. where we're going with how dangerous they are out there on the ice currently. So let's go, you guys. Let's make some freaking money. Oi, oi, oi. Yeah, that Australian. I tell you, sometimes reading those vowels, as long as I memorize the name, I am completely fine. If you guys could like, share, and subscribe over here on YouTube, I would greatly appreciate it. So let's get into the second game. If you're just joining again, I'll do the recap. Between the Florida Panthers and the Buffalo Sabres, I'm on Buffalo today. I'm going to get that plus money with the home dog. They're both trending in the opposite direction. I do think this one stays under that total of 5.5. The only fear with that 5.5 is for the empty netter. I do think we've got a Buffalo Sabres team who's young, they're hungry, they're trying to dig their way out of an early hole in the Atlantic Division, and we're going to see a lot out of them today. Now, we'll have a little bit of grace time here before the puck drops on the second game. 3 p.m. Eastern, we'll see the matchup between the New York Islanders and the Ottawa Senators. Now, the Ottawa Senators are a minus 142 home favorite. The New York Islanders at plus 118. A total of 5.5 in this one. The juice on that total is to the over. You're going to have to lay juice on the over. And I was actually shocked this one wasn't 6.5. You guys, we talked about the Ottawa Senators and their defense and their lack of resistance in the neutral zone. So I do think the Isles are going to have some solid plays, solid rushes up the ice, but the Ottawa Senators have to be scoring as well. This is a Senators team that's averaging 30.6 shots on goal per game, averaging 3 goals per game, and they dominate the faceoff. They're winning 63.1% of the faceoffs, which is the best in the league. If you can control the faceoff, you can control the pace out there. And we know Ottawa plays at that fast pace. Looking at the goaltender they're going up against, it's Sorokin in net for the Isles today, and we can't trust him. I want to trust him against, my friend's kids hockey team. Sorokin is struggling. He's got a 4.19 goals against average at 854 save percentage at the moment, and I don't know what's happening to him to start this season. Is he worried because Carter Hart's coming back in the league? Maybe that's the case. We haven't really heard if he did sign if he's getting picked up by Vegas or not. We know that he was talking with them, but I think Sorokin just looking off. We've also got a very weak kill here for the Islanders. That kills only 71.4%. Now, when we look at the Isles, what they're able to do offensively, they are racking up those shots. They need to get more high danger shots, and I think we're going to see more of those shots convert today on Allmark. We know Allmark's numbers aren't great either. He's got a 3.72 goals against average and an 862 save percentage. When we see the Senators allowing that 27.6 shots on goal per game, we're going to see the Isles be able to convert. We know Bo Horvat in that last game versus Edmonton really was able to dominate, was able to get that strong performance. And I do think we're going to see a lot out of this team today. Now, their face-off percentage is weak. They can't even win 50% of their face-offs. So I think the Senators will control this game. I won't be shocked if we hit 7 goals in this. So what I did, I took the over 5.5 for a half a unit minus 134, and I took the over 6.5 at plus 116. Half a unit on both of those, as I do think this is a 4-3 style game. Now I will look at the first period. Over 1.5 at minus 134 for a half a unit, and the other half a unit on both teams to score in the first period at plus 158. So after the Sharks killed me yesterday with both teams to score, and we didn't just get the over 1.5, even though we had to lay juice with them and Utah. I've decided just split that bet. First period over 1.5 for half a unit, both teams to score for the other half, and don't get greedy. So that is where I'm going to go. I can't bet the early games because I take old man power naps. That's okay. You can take old man power naps as the day goes on. That's for sure. I have to take some coffee breaks here today. It is a Saturday morning, you guys. Let me know how you are spending your Saturday. Now, one thing to note about both of these teams, okay? So you look at the amount of penalties they take, and both of these teams take double-digit minutes in penalties. They take too many penalties for me to be able to take this game 2 and under. I think because of how these two teams do with the amount of time they do in the box, we easily go over the 5.5. And that's another reason why I'm going to ult it. You'll also look at how weak the kill here is for the Ottawa Senators. They're only killing off 55% of their opponent's power plays. And now the power play isn't great here for the Isles at 18.8%, but I do think it improves today against the Senators team, who just can't keep anything out of the net when their opponent has a one-man advantage. But the kill isn't great here either for the Isles. It's only 71.4%. I do think that you have to look in this one at some power play points, especially for the Isles. Now, we talked about Bo Horvat. You've also got to look at Matthew Barzal to come out nice and strong, and then their rookie, Matthew Schaefer out here. So when we look at the Islanders lineups, you guys, we're going to pull that up just quick for you so I can go over those power play lines and where you want to go tonight for those power play lines. So the top line is Duran with Bo Horvat and Heinzman out there. Now, Barzell is on that second line with Anthony Dunclair. It is a strong line for sure. Anders Lee is on that third line. So there are depth players here that I do have trust in for the New York Islanders. Matthew Schaefer is on the top defensive pairing with Scott Mayfield, and I do think it's a very solid defensive pairing. You're going to also see Matt Schaefer on that top power play unit. So Palmieri, Horvat, Duran, and Barzell with Schaefer all on that top power play unit. This unit should be able to convert tonight, even though they've had those struggles, only converting under 20% of the time thus far. The kill is way too weak here for the Ottawa Senators. And when we look at the Ottawa Senators lineups and where they're going to score on the power play, you guys, because these power play points are coming tonight, and that's where we're going to get the value in the points. Now, you can do the line combos for sure out there, and I'm not telling you not to, but I do think it's worth looking at a couple of these guys for their power play points. So Tim Struzal coming centering that first line. Again, when I look at the Ottawa Senators, it is the second line that I absolutely love. You got Perrin, Cozen, and Batherson, and then Shane Pinto on that third line. You do have Ehlers and Cousins on that fourth line, so lots of strength there. Jake Sanderson on that top defensive pairing, Shabbat on the second with Nick Jensen. It's a solid defensive core as well. So on that top power play, you do have Struzal, Batherson, and Cozen, and Sanderson, and Greg out there. I do think the top power play unit has the ability to be able to net some points tonight for us, but that second power play unit absolutely does as well. You got Perrin, Pinto on that with Shabbat, and I think those are the playmakers you want to look at. So we need both of these teams to step up in the kill department, but they absolutely are not. And until they can prove that they can step up in the kill department, these are two teams that you absolutely want to just fire to the over currently. Senators and Isles, you're not sure that the matchup in the last 10 games. Yeah, you got to look at the over. That's for sure. It's raining in Oklahoma City. You just woke up. Yeah, well, thank you. I'm not sure. Thank you for watching today. So let's get on to, do I have any player props in this? Yeah, just looking at those power play points, but Shane Pinto has been great. Shane Pinto, we've already cashed on his props so far this season. He has 6 goals in 5 games. Jake Sanderson is playing at a rate of a point per game. So if you want to look at Pinto and Batherson for a point parlay together, I like it. And again, on the Isle side, it's Bo Horvat, Matthew Barzell, and Mark Schaefer there for the points for me, and the power play points as well. Okay, third game on deck. This one dropping at 3:30 Eastern. You guys, the Edmonton Oilers taking on the New Jersey Devils. Now, before you jump all over and over, I kind of caution you for taking this one to the over. My favorite bet of this game is the under 6.5. The problem with the under 6.5, it's so juicy at -134. If you're okay with that kind of juice, if your juice tolerance is that high, then take this under 6.5. And I know how dangerous that can be when you look at the offenses here, but what I'm looking is at the defense and the goaltending components of this game. And I do think we have a lower scoring one. Did you know Connor McDavid is yet to net a goal this season? Evan Bouchard yet to net an assist as well. So really interesting to see. We look at Edmonton's defense, and these numbers are shocking when you start to break down how strong their defense has come out to start the season. Now, we know with Edmonton, the Edmonton Oilers are always, it feels like they're a couple steps behind to start the season on the offensive side of things, as the year progresses, their defense tends to get worse and their offense tends to get better. It's really interesting to see how it plays out. But Edmonton is rolling into New Jersey as a minus 115 favorite. The New Jersey Devils at minus 105. Lane Hudson, someone you want to look at for the Devils. Lane Hudson has been phenomenal out there for the Devils. So we will talk about him, but I just want to look at the goaltending. So after getting picked apart by the Calgary Flames, Stuart Skinner has been really solid between the pipes, and I can't discount his numbers. He's got a 1.97 goals against average and a 921 save percentage. On the other side, we know Jacob Markstrom is out, which would have been great to see Markstrom versus Skinner because that was kind of like the battle of Alberta. But we got Jake Allen between the pipes here for the New Jersey Devils with Markey out with injury. Jake Allen has solid numbers. He's got a 1.20 goals against average and 957 save percentage thus far on the season. My thing comes down to, you can look at these goals, right? You look at the New Jersey Devils, they're averaging 3.5 goals per game on 28.5 shots on goal. Their power play is converting at 23.1. They're not winning those faceoffs where Edmonton is. Edmonton's able to win over 50% of their faceoffs at 53.5%. Their power play is also converting at that 23.1%, and they're averaging the 2.5 goals per game. Edmonton, within a couple of weeks, is going to be averaging over 3 goals per game. We know that offensive firepower is coming, but you look at the defensive side of things right now. Firstly, you got to talk about the kill. The second best kill here is for the New Jersey Devils. They're coming in at 94.1%. They're killing off their opponent's power play opportunities, and I do think they're going to be able to do that here. This 1-2 punch is so dangerous of Edmonton, but I do think the defense stands tall in front of Jake Allen today. Now, on the Edmonton side, their kills right behind the New Jersey Devils, third best kill in the league at 85.7%. So we're going to see both of these teams not giving up those opportunities on the power play to their opponents. You're also seeing Edmonton limiting those shots on goal. They're only allowing 23 shots on goal per game. That's just outstanding numbers. They're third best in the league for that and allowing 2 goals per game. So I'm looking for Edmonton to continue with that defensive style of play here. They are looking for that bounce back off of that loss to the Isles, and that's where I really like Edmonton to be able to lock down on the defensive side of things. We are seeing the New Jersey Devils off the win versus the Florida Panthers in a game which they held Florida to only 1 goal. They only put up 3 themselves. They will be at the Leafs on Tuesday. So that was at home, and I do have the confidence that this is more that 3-2 style game in this one. Now, this could be an overtime game. I think it's worth looking at this one to go to overtime. I think you also look at the first period, the under 1.5 goals. The under 1.5 goals in the first period for this one to start off slow is coming in at plus 108. So I think it's 3-2. If it goes 3-3 into OT, we go over the 6.5. So it's just one of those games. It's going to be that tight. Overtime will be the only reason I think this one goes over that total. So looking at Edmonton as well. This is game 3 of 5 out there on the road and a first night of a back-to-back. They do have the Detroit Red Wings on deck tomorrow. So there is a look ahead for that, but they're coming off a loss to the Isles. They're going to want to get things right. Connor McDavid, it's just a matter of time before he does light the lamp. Will it be tonight? I don't think so. I'd look at it tomorrow versus the Red Wings. We'll see if Cam Talbot's able to go tomorrow for the Red Wings. But Evan Bouchard had 117 assists last season. 117 assists over the last 2 seasons. That would be outstanding numbers over one. But he is yet to get that assist as of yet too. So you're going to start to see something to give here for the Edmonton Oilers. Andrew Mangiapane is one of those players that has been solid versus the New Jersey Devils. So if you want to look at a goal scorer for Edmonton tonight, it's worth a shot here on Andrew Mangiapane. He's scored at least 1 goal in 4 of the last 5 road games versus the New Jersey Devils. So I have a love-hate relationship right now for Andrew Mangiapane. He was with the Calgary Flames, and how he could ever put a Edmonton jersey on after that, I guess money does funny things to you. Just joking, you guys. But Luke Hughes has been strong. He's got 4 points over 4 games, ranked 3rd in the Devils shot attempts. So Luke Hughes been solid. You got Jack Hughes out there as well. Lots of playmakers on both of these teams, but I think this is a lower scoring one. They're limiting all of my 5 legs. Are you kidding me? Wow. That is absolutely Brutal. Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Okay. I'm sorry to hear they're limiting you out there. I think they were watching. Yeah, maybe. So if they weren't watching, to limit you guys maybe for sponsoring, but I don't want this show to change. So let's just stick with how it is. Edmonton looked awful against the Islanders. Yeah, they absolutely did look awful versus the Islanders. So we'll see if they can have that bounce back. In this game today, I do think this one is too tight to call. I think this is a back and forth battle between these two where we stay in a lower scoring game and possibly, just possibly, the OT bet. Okay, the Minnesota Wild next are taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. So looking at the odds in this one, just let me find them. The Minnesota Wild are minus 102. The Philadelphia Flyers are minus 118. And if you're kind of wondering why, I was too. I expected the Minnesota Wild to roll in as the favorite here on the money line. This total 6.5. The juice to the total is on the under 6.5 at minus 138. This is a 7:10 Eastern puck drop for this game. I'm really interested to see why this one has the Wild being the underdog. Now, I know they have a backup goaltender in Wellstat, but he had a solid game versus the LA Kings. He only allowed 3 goals on 34 shots on goal. So when you first hear 3 goals, it sounds like he's going to have a hard one here versus the Flyers, but it was on 34 shots versus the Kings. So we need the defense here of the Minnesota Wild to be able to give him the support. Now, I know it's the second night of a back-to-back. They are off the road loss to the Capitals last night, so maybe that's why the books are making them the dog here on the road, but they are a deeper, better team than the Flyers, in my opinion. They lost last night's game 5-1. Game 3 of a 5-game road trip, so there's a lot of reasons why we can see them come in here and have those struggles, but I do think the Wild can do enough in this game to get the win. This is one of the teams with the best power play in the league. They've got a 43.5% conversion on the power play. And I know the Caps played them hard last night, but I expect here versus the Flyers for them to get up. They're averaging 3 goals per game and 30.8 shots on goal. Now, Urgent expected between the pipes for the Flyers. He's got a 3.87 goals against average. That save percentage over his first 2 starts has only been an 849. So we're going to see the Minnesota Wild be able to score. Now, when we look at what the Flyers are doing on the defensive side and what the Wild are doing on the defensive side, I understand the Wild are allowing way too many shots. They're allowing 32.4 shots on goal per game, which is 28th in the league. Their kill is weak at 66.7% and are allowing 4 goals per game. The Flyers aren't that much better, you guys. They're still allowing 28.5 shots on goal per game. So there's a difference of 4 shots there. Their kills better, a lot better. It's 80%, but they're allowing the 3.25 goals per game and do have the rest advantage. I give them that. But for me, you guys, I think the Wild can get this done. The Wild to score over 3.5 goals today is coming in at plus 146. Urgent's giving up the goals. And I do think they're going to get those opportunities being a team that takes 30.8 shots on goal per game. I'll take the Wild over 3.5 goals at plus 146. And then I'm going to go big. You guys, I'm going big in the first period. Give me the Minnesota Wild. So they're on the second night of a back-to-back. What do we see with some of these teams on the second night of a back-to-back, especially off a loss? They come in so eager and hungry in that first period. They dominate the first period. And then as the game goes on, that is where they have those struggles. I think the Wild get 2 goals in the first period. I'm not going to take the over 1.5 or the both teams to score in the first period. I'm just going to go big. The Wild first period over 1.5 goals coming in at plus 310. And that's just the Wild's team total in the first period. Plus 310 is worth a little bit of a sprinkle. I'll put a half a unit on the Wild over 1.5 goals in the first period and then over 3.5 goals in the full game at plus 146. I love that plus money. Now we have seen the Wild struggle versus Metro, losing the last 6 versus a Metro opponent. So they are taking on a Metro opponent here. The underdogs covered the puck line in the last 9 games here in Philadelphia, though. So if we do see the Flyers go up first, come back in on the Wild plus the 1.5. Right now, going into this game, there's no value on the Wild plus the 1.5, but I do think as it plays out, if we do see the Flyers go up first, there will be. That is very nice of you to say, because the big card, Jo Madden, is a cash cow. It's going to hit. It is going to hit majorly in one of these Puck It with Joe shows. So let's move on to the next game, a 7 o'clock puck drop as well between the Seattle Kraken and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, Toronto's a $2 favorite. The juice has been ticking up as the day has been going on. The Kraken are plus 164. Can they stay competitive? You guys know the Kraken are a team that I struggle to really back a lot, but they can make some waves in these games. This total sitting at 5.5. It's minus 138 to the over 5.5. So looking at how we break down this one, Stolarz is off that overtime win versus the New York Rangers. He looked great in that one. He stopped 28 of 29 shots on his goal versus the Rangers. It was a 2-1 win on Thursday. So, and then Joey Daccord coming out here for the Seattle Kraken. He's 2-0 on the season, 2-0-1 on the season with a 2.23 goals against average and a 918 save percentage. Both of these goaltenders have been solid to start the season. These teams don't take a lot of penalties, you guys. So when we look at that total, the total coming in again is 5.5. I know it's scary to take a total to the under at 5.5. It's plus 112 to the under, and I would take the under before I took an over in this game because of the lack of penalties. I don't think we're going to get that many power play opportunities for each of the opponents. Both of these teams are totally limiting their time in the box. We're looking at the Seattle Kraken. They are averaging 3 goals per game, but I think they're going to struggle to score on Stolarz. If they get those power play opportunities, they're converting at 25% on 27 shots on goal is their average. Now, looking at Toronto, we know this team can score. They are almost averaging 4 goals per game at 3.8, 28.4 shots on goal. Their power play is weak, though. They're not converting at a high percentage out there, but they do have a strong face-off. So I'm actually, no, their power play isn't that weak. I don't think it's that weak. It's just average, their power play. It's not great. Their kill is strong though at 86.7%. And the kill here for the Seattle Kraken is coming in at 75%. It's a limited time in the box. It really does stand out to me. I think the Leafs can get the win, and I think both of these goaltenders stand on their head to be able to keep the lower scoring one. So the Leafs in reg, I think, is where I'd want to go. I don't want to lay the 1.5 because we have seen the Seattle Kraken cover the last 5 on the puck line as a dog. We are seeing the Leafs in reg at minus 130. So you'll have to lay the juice there. If you don't want to lay the juice, I would look at the first period. The first period puck line here for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they just have to win that first period. I expect it to be a 1-0 first period for the Leafs. And one thing about the Leafs, they're such a physical team. As long as they get control of this game early, then they control the tempo and they won't allow the Seattle Kraken to be able to do so. So the Kraken have been winning those battles on the board and have been able to limit those rush chances. And what we will see is we'll see Toronto, if they can score first, really slow down the Kraken's ability to get those rush chances as well. And for then Toronto to be able to have that dominance on the board. So Toronto to score first is pivotal for this team. Puck line laying a half a goal at plus 128. I think if they don't score first and the Kraken come out and score first, we'll lose the regulation bet as well for the Toronto Blue Jays. I just like this team when they get off to the right start to be able to control it. Now, they have won the last 5 first periods versus the Kraken as well, and the last 5 games. So they have dominated versus each other. But yeah, the Kraken have been strong on that puck line. So if you want to look at them to come back on the puck line, you could look there. Oh, I love it. You got Macklin Celebrini for the 2+ points last night. It was definitely a moneymaker. Jo Madden is 2-2. Jo Madden is 2-2. Can't remember. Jo Madden, not sure which one you're meaning for that. If you're talking about the Jo Madden plays on picks and parlays or where you're talking. Let's make some freaking money though, you guys. You got the 2 RBIs. I like it. I like it, you guys. It's going to be a good day. Let's continue to make this money today. We're going to move on to the next game. Matthews and Nylander is where you want to look for Toronto. I'm not going to have a lot of bets in that one or like the player props. I just really like the first period prop bet there of the puck line. Let's look at the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. This is another 7 o'clock puck drop. We're seeing the Tampa Bay Lightning at -102, -118 here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Total sitting at 6.5. 6.5 juice to the under at -115, -105 to that over. This is going to be an interesting one to see who can control this game. The Tampa Bay Lightning rolling in here. This team is only winning 41.9% of their faceoffs. This is a team that's known for their offense, but they're only averaging 2.8 goals per game on 23.2 shots on goal. Now their power play is 23.1% conversion rate, so it is solid there. They'll be shooting that puck on Jet Greaves today. Jet Greaves coming in here for the Columbus Blue Jackets, 0-2 to start the season, but he does have a 2.05 goals against average and a 932 save percentage. In the loss to the Devils and the Predators, he allowed 2 goals on 27 shots on goal and 2 goals on 32. So he does stand pretty tall between the pipes. Johansson coming in here for the Tampa Bay Lightning is 1-0 on the season with a 3.0 goals against average and a 909 save percentage. One game versus Boston, he allowed 3 goals on 33 shots. Now, when we're looking at Columbus, his team averaging under 3 goals per game as well at 2.75, but they are getting the 6th most shots on goal per game at 31.8 shots on goal. Their power play is so weak. It's only converting at 9.1%, but they do have that ability to win those face-offs, and against a weak face-off opponent here like the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Columbus Blue Jackets at home should be able to control this game. Now, they need to do better defensively as well. Their kill is the worst in the league at 53.3%. They're allowing 3.25 goals per game on 37 shots. They're allowing their goaltender to be absolutely peppered out there. So defensively, we're going to need Columbus to step up. Now, Kucherov did go out of the lineup yesterday, so we were unable to get Kucherov for the 2+ points as he went out of the lineup. And we found that out late. It was like, 15 minutes before puck drop that Kucherov was taken off. You guys know we were riding him for his points yesterday, but I do think even with Kucherov on the ice, I think the Columbus Blue Jackets have the ability to win this one today. Columbus in this game, I think, is going to get the goals. So this is where I'm going. We look at Johansson coming in here for the Tampa Bay Lightning and his numbers versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. It hasn't been pretty. He's faced them 4 times now, twice with Tampa, once with Florida, and once with Colorado. So back in 2021, he was with Colorado. In that game, he allowed 5 goals on 37 shots. Then in 2022 with Florida, he allowed 5 goals on 27 shots. With Tampa in 2004, Johansson allowed the Columbus Blue Jackets to put up 7 goals on 43 shots. The lack of stop here for Tampa for allowing their goaltender to be peppered was insane in that game, but they're allowing an average of 31.4 shots on goal again this season. And you've got Columbus coming in here six bets at getting those shots at 31.8. So then in the last meeting, we did see him stronger. That was in 2025. So earlier in the spring, he allowed only 2 goals, but it was on 33 shots. That save percentage was a 939. But we're looking at Columbus's team total at 3.5 at +116 to the over 3.5. And I just had major deja vu. Like, we've done this show before. We probably talked exactly these numbers. I bet you it was this matchup that we saw last year, you guys. But I'm looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets to be able to get over the 3.5 goals on Johansson on the Tampa Bay Lightning here at +116. It's worth a shot. He's only had 1 game out of his 4 versus Columbus where he's allowed less than 3.5 goals. So that is where I'm going to go. Okay. Let's look at the next game. I'm seeing your guys' comments come in. Now, something to note. The Columbus Blue Jackets, coming off a loss, have been able to win their last 6 first periods off a loss. So if you just want to look at Columbus in the first period, that definitely is a strength for them. They've also won their last 9 games as a favorite. They're coming in here as a favorite. I do think they get the win. So if you just want to look at them straight up on the money line, it's a great way to go. And if you want to take them for that puck line. Laying 1.5 goals. We have seen the Tampa Bay Lightning fail to cover the puck line in their last 7 games, but the majority of those games, they have been the favorite. Okay, let's move on to the next game. I'm just going to have a quick look at your comments here. Yeah, this is a long shot game for sure. Everybody is fading the Lightning. Well, if everybody's fading the Lightning, you know what they say, then get on the side of the books. If you guys are truly seeing the fade of the Lightning, get there with them. Even your mom and kids are fading the Lightning. Well, then get on the Lightning board then. I definitely would look there. When we look at Jack Greaves, I do think you should be able to stand tall. But if you want to take the Lightning's team total, expecting them to really step up on the offensive side of things, you can. So the Lightning on the puck line, yeah, you can't take them puck line. You'd have to take them reverse puck line if you really do think the Lightning are going to be able to get things done. It should be an easy win for the Lightning, but they're just not playing up to expectations right now, and that is why. Okay, let's look at the next game here. We have the New York Rangers taking on the Montreal Canadiens. Now, looking at this matchup, the Montreal Canadiens are the favorite. They're coming in at -126. The juice keeps ticking up for Montreal here. The Rangers have been so solid between the pipes. Can goaltending win them another one? It's +105 here on the money line for the New York Rangers. Total sitting at 5.5, -140 to the over, and it's +114 to the under in this one. Igor's been straight fire, you guys. He's 2-2-1 on the season with a 1.00 goals against average and 962 save percentage. He has been holding this team together. This team offensively is absolutely struggling, but killing it on the defensive side. They're only averaging 1.83 goals per game, under 2 goals per game on 30.3 shots. So they're getting those shots, but they're not getting those high danger shots. Their power play is weak. It's only 11.8%, but they do have a strong faceoff. They're able to control the faceoff and control the pace. If you can control the faceoff, you can control the game. We do have a weak power play here for the Montreal Canadiens at 15%. They're converting they're averaging 25.6 shots on goal per game and 3.6 goals per game. So this is a team offensively that is firing limited shots, but more high danger shots, right? So they're getting those shots to convert. When we look at the New York Rangers, defense and goaltending is the storyline. Defensively, they're allowing the least goals in the league at 1.5 on 25.7 shots, which is 8th best in the league. Their kill is fantastic at 91.7%, and they take the least penalty minutes at 4.3 minutes out there. When we look at the defense of the Montreal Canadiens, they're doing solid. They're really limiting their opponent's ability to get those shots at 24.2 shots on goal. They're only allowing the 2.8 goals per game, and Sam Montague between the pipes is 2-1 with a 2.97 goals against average. That save percentage isn't where I want to see it. I want to see him get above 900, but it's an 870 save percentage. Their kill is 75%. So they need to do better on the kill as well. The problem is here, these teams are trending in the opposite directions. You have the Rangers. They've lost their last 3, and Montreal has won their last 4. I think if Montreal wins it, they win it in a lower scoring game. Now, I was able to get Montreal earlier at -111. Like I said, it has ticked up. The juice is almost -130 on the Montreal Canadiens. It means the money is coming in for them. You've got the Montreal Canadiens off an overtime loss, a 3-2. Or overtime win, 3-2, versus the Predators. The Sabres on deck on Monday. You are seeing the Rangers off an overtime loss here to the Toronto Maple Leafs, 2-1. Second road, they're home on Monday versus the Wild. So just 2 road games here. Not a bad situation for those road games, but I do think they struggle to score on Sam Montague. This team just isn't netting the puck right now. And so under 2.5 goals for the New York Rangers coming in at +124. I think it's a great way to go. And then Montreal to win it. Now, again, that juice is ticking up. It is now -126. I got it at -111. The Montreal Canadiens have won their last 9 games as a favorite. Now, if you're looking for someone to really step up because of the trends, because Zibanejad has been strong versus the Montreal Canadiens, he's been able to score a goal in each of the Rangers' last 5 against the Canadiens. So Mika Zibanejad at plus 250 to score a goal today might be worth a look for the New York Rangers, expecting him to score. One of the only 2 out there. Now, I do like Nick Suzuki. You know how much faith I have in Nick Suzuki out there, Blake. But I struggle to see those goals coming in today. And if we're going to struggle to see the goals, we're going to struggle to see the points. So I can't lay it with Nick Suzuki. If Montreal wins this in a 3-1 game where it does stay under that total, yeah, sure, he could still be involved. But I would rather take situations where Nick Suzuki is in games where I do think they're going to be higher scoring than taking him here. But I do think it's Caulfield and Nick Suzuki and Lane Hudson if the Montreal Canadiens are opening things up today versus the New York Rangers. But again, the Rangers team has been so solid on the defensive side of things. It's just hard for me to see. Okay, we're going to look at the next game here. Just let me have one sip of water. I need a sip of water and a sip of coffee because the water is almost gone now. The coffee is almost gone. So let's get things going here, you guys, because I need more of both. The Rangers will fade because of the President's Trophy curse. I don't know. I wouldn't fade them because of that. Okay, let's move on to the next game. We have the Dallas Stars taking on the St. Louis Blues. I'm shocked at the loss. The Dallas Stars took the Vancouver Canucks. I'm still mad about that one. They allowed the Vancouver Canucks to open up offensively, and they lost that one and pushed us over the total. You guys know I thought that would be a lower scoring game. I just wasn't impressed with what we saw out of Dallas defensively. Now, this one is kicking off here at 7:11 Eastern. So we're going to see the Dallas Stars is a minus 122 favorite. The St. Louis Blues looking for the win at home at plus 102 and a total of 5.5. The juice to the total is on the over at minus 128. Looking at the goaltending matchup, it is Jake Ottinger versus Jordan Binnington. Now, Jordan Binnington is 1-1 on the season with a 3.64 goals against average. He needs to step up. He really does. 2 goals on 29 shots versus Vancouver, 5 goals on 21 versus or in the first game is what really killed his stats out there. I'm looking for him to have some positive regression in this game. It is a battle of the Central out here. So these Central opponents going against each other. Jake Ottinger has a 3.24 goals against average and 905 save percentage, going 3-0. The defense is allowing way too many shots on goaltending here for the Dallas Stars as well. Ottinger last game gave up a couple goals on 41 shots versus the Wild, 39 versus the Avs. So the Stars need to step up in this one. Casey DeSmith, they did a better job at giving him protection, but he allowed 5 goals on 26 shots. So just wasn't the game in that last one for a lower scoring one. Now, the Dallas Stars are a team that score a ton of points themselves. They're averaging 4.25 goals per game on 28.8 shots. Second best power play in the league, converting at 38.5% and a strong face-off. When we look here at the St. Louis Blues, they're averaging 3 goals on 29 shots. The power play is only converting at 18%. The kill is weak here for the Dallas Stars, and this really stands out for me. This kill is only killing off 68.7% of the penalties, and they can't stay out of the freaking box. They're shooting themselves in the foot out there. They are off. Thursday home loss to Dallas. This is a one-off road game, and then they're home versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. Then the Kings and the Canes. I don't love the scheduling spot here for the Dallas Stars. These one-off road games, especially this early in the season, I think is really hard on these teams. And I think because of it, I have to take the St. Louis Blues. I think the St. Louis Blues at home at plus 102, plus 104, depending on your book, is where you want to go. Especially this team hasn't played since Wednesday. They're coming off that home loss on Wednesday to the Chicago Blackhawks 8-3. The defense is going to look to step up. They're going to look to try to lock down on things. They are allowing the 4.25 goals per game. So I'm not going to touch the total, but give me here the St. Louis Blues at home to pull things together on a bad scheduling spot for the Dallas Stars. Now, if you want to look at Dallas, I'd recommend looking at Dallas in the first period. They've won their last 4 first periods. This is where they are able to get up to a nice start. Now, if that does happen, you can come back in if you want a little bit of reassurance on the St. Louis Blues, then on the puck line, because this Blues team, off a loss, has been able to cover that puck line in their last 9. So those of you that love the trends, but they have won their last 5 games as a home dog. So let's make it 6 here today. Let's get that plus money on the St. Louis Blues. If you're looking for the trend on the goal scorer, it's Mikko Rantanen has scored the first goal in 3 of the last 4 road games versus the St. Louis Blues. His first goal today, plus 1,000. I probably wouldn't get greedy. I would probably just look at the anytime goal. But if you like those trends, that is your trend bet for this game. Irish King, it's totally fine that you were late. We kicked off the show early today, and I need a bigger cup of coffee. I had my bigger cup and it went walkabout, so not sure where the coffee cup went in my house. I probably just left it sitting somewhere on a side table, but I've got a million coffee cups and I think I need probably a million more. It's one thing that I always will buy another one of is a coffee cup. I love a good coffee cup. Let's look at the Nashville Predators taking on the Winnipeg Jets. The Nashville Predators rolling in as a plus 150 favorite. You got to give me a heck of a lot more money to take a chance on the Nashville Predators versus this Winnipeg Jets team right now. The Winnipeg Jets, Mark Scheifele, let's not forget to talk about Mark Scheifele today. He is going to surpass some records, so he's already tied. The Winnipeg Jets are minus 182, total 5.5. Minus 102 to the under, minus 120 to the over. Saros has been holding the Nashville Predators in these games. Predators are currently 2-1 on the season. The Winnipeg Jets are sitting 3-1. Connor Hellebuck doesn't have the best numbers, but I'm looking for some positivity out of him in this game today. The Nashville Predators are weak on the power play, only converting 10.5%, which is 28th in the league. You've got a fantastic power play here for the Winnipeg Jets, converting 25% of their opportunities. The Jets are also averaging 4.25 goals per game on 23.3 shots on goal. So they are not getting a ton of shots on goal, you guys, but the Nashville Predators allow 30.4 shots on goal. This is the game where the Winnipeg Jets are going to be firing all over Saros. Saros has been the reason the Predators have been able to stay tight in games. So what you want to do in this one is look at Saros's save shots on goal to the over, because I do think with Winnipeg averaging 23.3, Nashville allowing 30.8, I think the Winnipeg Jets are getting 29, 30, 32, 33 shots on Saros today. Some of those are going to convert, and I think the Winnipeg Jets get the win. Now, I'm going to look at the Winnipeg Jets. I'm going to drop it to regulation instead of laying the juice. So in reg, for this game not to go to overtime and Winnipeg to get the win in the 60 minutes, it's coming in at minus 120. This team is so clean in the neutral zone. They are off a 2-game road trip, and that's why I'm not taking the puck line. You got to look at all the negatives when you're looking at the positives, and that negative is coming home off that road trip. But I do think this team is trending in the right direction. They have the best kill in the league at 94.4% kill rate. They're allowing still those shots to come on net at 30.3 shots per game, but we're looking at the Nashville Predators. Their scoring has been too inconsistent for me to think they keep this one tight. Now, the Winnipeg Jets have won their last 5 as a favorite, and I think they continue to do so. So let's look at Mark Scheifele. Let's look at Mark Scheifele, not only for a point, but 2+ points out of Mark Scheifele. He continues to drive this offense and is 1 point away from breaking the franchise scoring record. He did get the tie in the last game. And he needs 1 more point to exceed Blake Wheeler's 812 point mark tonight. So all franchise scoring record. I do think he gets it. So look for Mark Scheifele for the goal. We'll look at Mark Scheifele for 2+ points. We're just going to pull that up. 813 he'll hit tonight if he's able to get it. So we do have goalie props. This is great news. Oh, only for Connor Hellebuck. His number is 23.5. Winnipeg's still allowing those shots on goal. I would take Connor Hellebuck over the 23.5 save shots on goal. Oh, we do have alt numbers for Saros. That's very weird. So Saros first period only. That is very weird. So let's take Saros for 11 plus save shots on goal in the first period. Coming in at plus 200, you guys. Why are we only getting Saros in the first period is a huge question mark for me. First period, you can take the 10 plus save shots on goal for Saros at plus 125 and then put the other half on the 11 plus at plus 200. If you think the Winnipeg Jets are going to come out flying off that road trip, 12 plus is plus 330. I probably wouldn't go that high, but I do think Connor Hellebuck goes over the 23.5. And I would look at Saros, the 10 plus, the 9 plus is where you're going to have to lay juice at minus 135. But I do think 9 plus, 10 plus, 11 plus, third of a unit on each makes sense. So Mark Scheifele for the anytime goals plus 160 there for the Winnipeg Jets. Kyle Connor is coming in at plus 120. You know Kyle Connor has been on absolute fire. I do think you can look at both of them now. The offense here for the Preds just has been too inconsistent for me to look at any of them. But I will look at Mark Scheifele for the 2+ points. You got to look at Kyle Connor for 2+ points always. Scheifele for 2+ is plus 200. Kyle Connor is plus 152. And I do think both of them are lighting the lamp and getting an assist today. So Buffalo is up 1-0. That is music to my ears, Irish King. Up 1-0 in this game. Let's just see who was able to score. Let's look at those lines. The Florida Panthers are now plus 126. You guys know I like the Buffalo Sabres. Right now, there's no other way to go. That total's still sitting at 6.5. Now, we did see in this game who did score. I'm just looking for who scored in this one for the Buffalo Sabres. It was Josh coming out here with the goal. He got an unassisted goal as well on that one shot. So nice to see out there. Alex Leon's already made 4 save shots, and we're seeing Bobrovsky allowing that one goal on 5 shots. So Bobrovsky got hit nicely by the Buffalo Sabres. So hopefully you guys rode with Buffalo there. If you didn't, there'll be another opportunity, I'm sure, as we will look for the Florida Panthers to be able to tie things up. I'm just not sure if they're going to be able to in this game. They are struggling at the moment out there. Jason Robinson for 2+ points. I don't hate Jason Robinson for 2+ points. We're going to start talking about him as we talk about the Carolina Hurricanes in a little bit here. Okay. Yeah, it's Winnipeg in reg, and Mark Scheifele for the goal and for 2+ points, and Kyle Connor for 2+ points. Let's look at the Boston Bruins over exceeding my expectations this season, taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Now they played that tight game versus Vegas, and I was disappointed to see them not get the win because you guys know we sprinkled on the money line there. They always play Vegas tight, which people never can get their heads wrapped around. For sure, it's hard to take a team versus Vegas, especially Vegas at home. But Vegas hasn't been great on that puck line at home. Something to always remember. So they are coming off that game versus Vegas where they were able to put up 5 goals on the Vegas Golden Knights, but their defense did break down and their top 6 failed to be really impactful in that game. So we saw them lose that one 6-5. Now they're taking on Colorado with Scott Wedgwood in goal. Scott Wedgwood has been fantastic for the Colorado Avalanche to start the season. He's got a 1.57 goals against average and a 939 save percentage. Jeremy Swayman will be in between the pipes for the Boston Bruins. He's 2-1 with a 2.68 goals against average and a 916 save percentage. Both of these teams averaging over 3 goals per game, 3.6 here for Boston and 3.4 for Colorado. Now, the biggest difference here is the shots on goal, the ability to generate those shots. Boston's averaging 28.6 shots on goal per game. Not bad numbers, but when you look at Colorado, they're averaging 4 shots on goal more at 32.4, third most in the league. We do have weaker power plays for both of these teams, only converting right around 15%. And the stronger face-off is coming in here. Well, both of them. The stronger face-off at 55.6% for Boston, 55.3% for Colorado. So this is going to be a battle of those face-offs. It's a defense where the biggest difference comes. We talked about Cale Makar and how impactful he is here for the Colorado Avalanche. This defense is only allowing 1.6 goals per game and 26.2 shots on goal, while the Boston Bruins are allowing 3 goals per game and 28.4. Swayman is allowing more of those high danger shots to go in the back of his net. When we look at Colorado, they've only allowed 8 goals through 5 games. I do think the Bruins can keep it tight in this one. But there's no value looking at the Boston Bruins on that puck line. Let me just pull up the lines here. We're still seeing 1-0 with 8 minutes left in the first period between the Buffalo Sabres and the Florida Panthers. That total did tick up to 6.5, but it was so highly juiced to the under. Right now, it is back to a 5.5 plus 112 to the under. I still think we stay under that 5.5. So that would be my live betting opportunity in that game currently. So Boston plus 1.5 is minus 115. Okay, it's not a bad number for the Boston Bruins. If Colorado gets up first, I'd be coming back in on Boston at a better price here. I do think that 6.5 is an interesting look. There's a couple things Boston has to do if they want to keep this one tight. I do think it stays under the total. Firstly, for them to be able to keep it tight, the Boston Bruins are a very physical team. So they are able to lay out those huge hits out there. They're able to dominate against the boards, and they do a strong job against a team that has smaller forwards that are fast, right? They're not as strong against forwards that are bigger in size because they can't use their physicality to kind of win those battles. But as long as they can control and be tight in that neutral zone and not allow Colorado to rush through the neutral zone, they should be able to keep this one within the number. So I would look at Boston plus the 1.5 and minus 115. I don't love the price we got to pay on it. I would look for this one to be a game where I'd live bet Boston if they go down. I don't love the numbers going into it. They need to completely slow down Colorado. Colorado's such a hard place for them to play, and it's a hard place for all the teams. But we have seen the Boston Bruins cover that puck line in the last 8 meetings versus the Colorado Avalanche. So I think it is the right way to go. Pavel Zacha has recorded an assist in 8 of his last 10 games versus the Avs too. So his assist tonight coming in at plus 190. I think this one stays under the total because of how Colorado has done on the defensive side. Again, 6.5 is juicy at minus 138. I think you could almost ult it down to under 5.5. I know Boston just scored 5 goals on Vegas, but I'm expecting this to be a grind them out physical game between these two. And I know the playmakers on both sides. I would look at Cale Makar. Like, I wish we could bet those hits right now. The physicality of this game is going to be one of the best of the game. And when you look at the points, here's the problem. You got to look at most of these guys for 2+ points. And when I'm looking at a lower scoring game, it's really hard to do. So I think Cale Makar should be able to come out, make an impact. But his 2+ points, his 1 point is too juiced. His 2+ is plus 196. There's a couple of specials over on FanDuel, just looking to see if I would like to do any of those. And I don't love them. Now, could we see this one go to overtime? We absolutely could. I think it's a grind them out game. I do think this one has every chance to go to overtime. So the overtime bet between these two teams is coming in. Let me just find it, you guys. I'm not actually seeing it. Hang on. There's like 100 tabs, as you guys know. The overtime bet is coming in at plus 380. God, the books are limiting their risk on this. Give me the Bruins. I'm going to put this in as soon as we get off here. The Avs at plus 380 to go to overtime. You guys, most of the time we're seeing this over 4-1 to your money. So give me the overtime bet here. I think it's definitely going. If you're looking for a playmaker in overtime, Martin Necas to score that overtime goal, or Nathan McKinnon, you're getting huge plus money for that to happen. Cale Makar at even plus 8,000. I think the Avs win it if it goes to OT. 1 goal game. You're gonna scratch it out. Okay. Toronto first period laying a half. Yeah, I love Toronto in the first period to come out nice and strong For sure, as long as they can control that first period, they are going to win that game. That's interesting seeing the flat 6 on your book. The book's, interesting that they would be going that way with it. You're gonna go with the parlay, Avs, Canes, and Blues puck line with the Blue Jackets on the money line. Okay. Wish you guys all the best. Well, now I'm not gonna go with the Avs. I'm sorry. They have every ability to cover that puck line. We know Colorado is a hard place to play, and the Bruins are coming off a hard game. So I don't want to talk you off a bet that you already liked, but I think this is going to be competitive. We have seen Boston keep it competitive with Colorado. Okay, let's look at the next game. We're getting into the later window here, you guys. 9 p.m. Eastern, the puck will drop between the Carolina Hurricanes and the LA Kings. This one coming in with Carolina rolling into LA as too big of a favorite for me to back. There were minus 152 on the money line, plus 126 to the LA Kings. The dogs are barking in this matchup, you guys. Plus 126. Just take my money already. I've already asked the books to take it. I asked them to take it twice. I liked it so much. And then the total of 5.5. The juice to the total is on the over 5.5 at minus 134. But if you do think the Kings are winning, unless we get the empty netter, you got to look for them to control it defensively. When we look at the goaltending matchup, Darcy Camper between the pipes for the LA Kings, I know it's hard to have faith in him. He is 0-2-1 on the season with a 3.35 goals against average and an 68 save percentage. And I want to take a save shots on goal, even though you look at his record versus the Carolina Hurricanes and they haven't been good numbers, but I'm looking for the defense to really step up here for the LA Kings. We know the physicality this team can bring to the table. Their kill hasn't been great to start the season. They're sitting 1-3-1. They're 0-2 at home. This is not the night to fade the LA Kings. This is where they get back on track. The LA Kings need to win this. They need to win at home. They need to win it big. I'm debating taking the alt puck line here for the LA Kings, as I do think they come out and completely limit the Carolina Hurricanes and get the win. And if they get that empty netter, they cover that alt puck line. So I'm just going to look at the alt puck line numbers here for the LA Kings. If you lay 1.5 goals with the LA Kings, it's coming in at plus 280. And that will be my bet as soon as I get off this show, because I do think the LA Kings laying 1.5 at plus 280. They have yet to win a home game, you guys. They're going to be so hungry to do so. And I think they get it done tonight. Now, when we look at what else I'm liking, I do think the first period stays under 1.5 goals. You're looking at first period under 1.5 goals at plus 104. You got Frederick Anderson, who I know has been outstanding, 3-0 to start the season with a 2.27 goals against average. It's still below 900 save percentage there for the Carolina Hurricanes. This team is averaging the most goals per game at 4.75 goals per game on 37 shots. So defense needs to come to play for the Kings. As long as the defense can stand tall, they own the physicality and they stop the speed here at the Carolina Hurricanes. We will see this one being a lower scoring game. Now, the Canes themselves are a team that can grind out these games, lower scoring battles. They are only allowing 21.5 shots on goal per game versus 27.4 for the LA Kings. They're allowing 2 goals per game versus 3.8 for the LA Kings. So all of the numbers, all of the stats, like when we look at these teams on paper, they say bet the Carolina Hurricanes. I can't get there. I think the LA Kings are a better team than they've played thus far on the season. I think that kill steps up. I think their power play that's still solid, converting 20% of the time, steps up to another level. And I do think even with Kopitar out with his foot injury, we see Kempe, Kuzmenko converting, and this team being able to get it. Now, defensively, Slavin is out for the Carolina Hurricanes with a lower body injury. So that does allow the LA Kings that advantage for their offense here. It's just been so hot and it's been so cold. I think the tables flip, right? The Carolina Hurricanes have won their first 4 games of the season. The LA Kings are 1-3-1. I just think it's time for the Kings to come out nice and strong. Gonna go with Caulfield, Eichel, and McKinnon anytime goals. Same goal parlay. That sounds like a good one for sure. Yeah, I hate when I talk you guys off of bets. I'd rather that I talk you onto bets that you're already liking than off the bets that you do like. So I think that is the best combo. Like if you're already liking something and then you come on here and then I have the faith in that too, when both of us have the faith, that's where I would bet it. Like if I was sitting there in your shoes, I wouldn't let me talk you off a bet. Maybe if you were already kind of hesitant on the bet, then I would say, okay, so she doesn't think so either. Let's scrap it. But I would look at the bets where we're both thinking the same. And if we're both thinking the same, and especially if we're seeing the money coming in on the other side, that is where I would hammer those bets. But let's look at the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the San Jose Sharks. Can we throw away more money on the San Jose Sharks? Like, really? Do I want to? Why do I want to just throw away my money on the Sharks? It's like I'm handing over my money on like a couple of things, and the Sharks have been one of them to start the season. If I asked you who had the third best power play in the league, who would you think? I bet you want to think the San Jose Sharks, but they do. Their power play is converting at 31.3%. Their goaltending's horrendous. They are killing off 73.3% of their opponent's power plays, but they're allowing 5.5 goals per game, 28 shots on goal, the most goals and the most shots on goal allowed. This team needs a kick in the butt. Like at the end of the day, they just freaking need a kick in the butt. They are losing us money. Now they're taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have been inconsistent out there. Tristan Jarry between the pipes has an 881 save percentage of 3.56 goals against average. This team is averaging 25.8 shots on goal per game, 3 goals per game. We do have the Sharks averaging 3.25 on 21 shots. So those shots are so limited out there for the Sharks, but they are finding a way to get in the back of the net. We are seeing 29 shots allowed for the Penguins and 3 goals. Second night of a back-to-back off a loss versus Utah, 6-3 on the road. Celebrini did get on the board with that goal for us. He got us to 2+ points. Now they've lost 15 games straight. Can I throw away my money? Please? Like I keep asking the books to take my money. I could save that money and buy a heck of a lot of stuff instead of betting on the San Jose Sharks. You guys, I don't know what to do with this. They're only plus 118. It's like the books are just asking me not to take them here at plus 118, at plus 140. I would be all over them at plus 118. I'm hesitant. 15 losses in a row. My old colleague, Scott Wetzel, it's a Scott Wetzel trend kind of thing. And he used to say to me, he used to get so frustrated with me, winners bet with streaks, losers bet against them. He would be coming out with the big L today if he heard me say bet the San Jose Sharks straight up on the money line to get a win, break this losing streak off the second night of a back-to-back. I can hear Scott Wetzel now, can't you guys? Scott Wetzel of Sports Grid, one of my favorite co-hosts I've ever worked with. So I can hear him in my head, and when I'm hearing him in my head, I'm just kind of cautious about that. But 0-5 on the puck line is a favorite for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I do think this one, just take the over. The 6.5 to the over is minus 115. I know the Sharks didn't score in the first period for us last night, but they had that momentum at the end of the game. Both teams to score in the first period, I do think would be a nice way to look. Maybe even the Sharks first period money line. Oh, look, see, I always find some way to throw my money away on the Sharks. The money line in the first period for the San Jose Sharks plus 104. It's not even giving us a value that we would want. You'd have to take them alt puck line on that first period for the San Jose Sharks. And they're not giving us a half a goal alt puck line. I'm not willing to take anything more. Both teams to score in the first period, if you think they do get on the boards, plus 142. The over 1.5, way too highly juiced. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Sharks are able to do. Like we said, Tyler Toffoli, Celebrini, they were able to get things done yesterday. We also had Jeff Skinner with those points. So if you just want to look and run back those guys for their points today, I don't hate it, because I do think this one goes over the 6.5. We know with the Pittsburgh Penguins, you're going to be looking at Sidney Crosby, and it's a great game. You got Sidney Crosby versus Macklin Celebrini. You gotta love when these legendary veterans play these younger rookies that are going to be the next, right? The next big names. They're already big names out there. We already have so much faith in these players to come out so strong. So if you're looking at Sidney Crosby versus Celebrini, you got Sidney Crosby for 2+ points at plus 172. You got Celebrini at plus 280. I would go there, you guys. I'd look at both of them for 2+ points. You know, Crosby, Rust, and Raquel are going to step up. Malkin as well. This is going to be a fun game, a fun higher scoring game of the night. And then we have the last game. The last game out there. And I know the Sharks are just kids, but they keep taking my money. I do love the Sharks. You know what? It's Tyler Toffoli. I got a soft spot for. I've got a soft spot for these rookies. You know, Toffoli was part of the Calgary Flames. And I do think the Sharks, in opportunities, they can make you some freaking money when everyone's counting them out. But God, 15 losses in a row. It's been a hard one. Okay. Last game on deck, and then we're going to get into the recap. My Calgary Flames again taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, big positive news here for the Calgary Flames. Jonathan Huberdeau is back in the freaking lineup. We need Huberdeau out there so bad. We're seeing the Vegas Golden Knights at minus 245 on the money line, plus 198 for the Calgary Flames. I'm going to take Calgary plus the 1.5 at minus 122. These teams did just play. Calgary got off to that hot start. It looked like money in the bank. I was out for dinner with the girls. We saw Calgary score their first 2 goals and then kind of went, okay, Calgary's up 2-0 in the first. We continued to, have dinner and hang out. Then all of a sudden Vegas scored in the second period, 2-1 second period. Calgary still with the lead. But that third period, Calgary broke down. They allowed those 3 goals by Vegas. Vegas winning that one 4-2, so covering that puck line. Now, Vegas at home really hasn't been dominated covering that puck line, and I do think Calgary can keep it tight. I will look at Calgary with Huberdeau back on the ice, plus 1.5 at minus 122. This total sitting at 6.5. I think we stay under. Calgary's defensive first. You guys, we only saw 6 goals in that last game, and I think we are going to see both goaltenders stand up. We got Aiden Hill, not the best numbers at a 845 save percentage. Dustin Wolf with an 873. But you look at Calgary, they came into the season. They got the huge win over the Edmonton Oilers in that first game, in a comeback win, and then they just faded off for the next 4, losing 4 straight, including one of these games to Vegas. I do think with Huberdeau back, this team can play that defensive style of hockey, keep it tight. I look at the first period, under 1.5 goals. I know Vegas is a team that can get up in the first period, so if you like Vegas first period puck line, I don't hate it, just laying a half goal, but I don't think we see 2 goals in the first. Vegas is going to want to lock down on the defensive side of things as well. After that game versus Boston, they don't want to be in 6-5 style wins. They want to be in 2-3 style of games out there. We need both defenses to lock down, and I think we stay under the 6.5. Now, Noah Hanovan is day-to-day, undisclosed reasons. Howden is day-to-day at lower body as well. We also have seen Vegas not cover that puck line in their last 7 games at home, and everyone's going to say, yeah, but they covered the puck line the other night. It was in Calgary versus Calgary. Jack Eichel, last meeting, had 2 goals, 7 shots. Calgary needs to find a way to lock Jack Eichel down. Hurdle had 1 goal and 1 assist, and Mitch Marner had 2 assists. They need to find a way. Now, Backlund has been strong for Calgary. In each of Calgary's last 2 games against Vegas, he's been able to score goals. So he's plus 475 if you want to back Backlund for the goal. I'll back Backlund for the goal in this one, even though it's going to be a lower scoring game. So it's going to be good. You can't watch the games without falling asleep. How do you fall asleep watching these games? I freaking love watching hockey. Hurricane scratch Flames puck line is better. Yeah, I think the Flames on the puck line is a great way to go. So you guys, that is everything. We have been live here for a long time. We got an hour and 20 minutes. Are you kidding me? Is it almost noon? For those of you that have hung in here the whole time, thank you so much. We are going to absolutely fly through the recap here. We're in the second period between the Florida Panthers and the Buffalo Sabres. Well, we're going to be going into the second period. The under 5.5, way too highly juiced currently. It's minus 152. If you want to come in, add a live bet once the puck drops in the second period. If we see a quick goal out of either of these teams, come back in on the under 5.5, because I do think you're going to get better value. Right now, minus 152, unbettable to that under. Okay, let's go. Man, how are we so late in the day? The New York Islanders versus the Ottawa Senators. Give me the over 5.5 in this game, coming in at minus 134. I won't be shocked if we do see 7 goals. I did alt total of over 6.5 goals at plus 116. I also like the first period for both teams to score at plus 158. Look for the power play points today. Neither of these opponents can kill off their opponent's power play opportunities. I would look at Bo Horvat, Matthew Barzal, and Matthew Schaefer here for the Isles, and for the Ottawa Senators, Shane Pinto, Jake Sanderson for the power play points as well. The Edmonton Oilers versus the New Jersey Devils. Give me the under 6.5 at minus 134. I don't mind ulting this under 5.5. I think this is a 3-2 style game that has every possibility of coming out 3-2 in OT. Give me the first period under 1.5 goals at plus 108 as well. Andrew Mangiapane has scored at least 1 goal in 4 of the last 5 road games versus the New Jersey Devils. He's plus 400 to score a goal tonight. Luke Hughes has 4 points in 4 games for the Devils. So those are your 2 playmakers to look at. The Minnesota Wild taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. Give me the Wild to score over 3.5 goals in this game at plus 126. I think Urchin is going to be peppered with shots from the Wild, and they will be able to find the back of the net. Now, I think they start off fast in this one on their second night of a back-to-back. Give me the Wild first period over 1.5 goals at plus 310. Yes, the Wild's team total in the first period over 1.5 goals at plus 310. The Seattle Kraken taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Give me the Leafs in regulation. That 60-minute bet, dropping the juice to minus 130. I would also look at them in the first period on the puck line, laying a half a goal at plus 128. They've been able to win their last 5 first periods versus the Kraken and the last 5 meetings, but the Kraken are doing a solid job of puck line tight games. They've covered the puck line in their last 5. These teams don't take a lot of penalties. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. You want to look at Matthews and Nylander there if you really want to circle someone for Toronto. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets. I will look at the Columbus Blue Jackets to score on Johansson. He doesn't have great numbers other than 1 game in all 3 of his other versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's allowed 5 or more goals. Over 3.5 goals here for the Columbus Blue Jackets, coming in at plus 116. I would also look at them in the first period. They've won their last 6 first periods off a loss. The New York Rangers versus the Montreal Canadiens. I'm going to look at these goaltenders to stand tall. I do think the Rangers under 2.5 goals at plus 124 holds a ton of value. Montreal to win this in a 3-2 style game. I'll take Montreal. I got them at minus 111. They're now minus 129 on that money line. Still holds value. If you want to look at them in reg, it could be a tight battle. I'm afraid it's 2-2 into OT, but I do think Montreal walks away with the win at the end of the day. Kyle Caulfield, if we go to overtime, look at him for the overtime goal. He's just been stellar on that on the overtime goals. Because Zibanejad has scored 1 goal in each of the Rangers' last 5 versus Montreal, he's plus 250 for the anytime goal. The Dallas Stars and the St. Louis Blues. The Dallas Stars give up too many opportunities here. And I do think the St. Louis Blues have every ability to get the win. I love a home dog. And I do think with the extra rest and the scheduling spot here for Dallas, it's got to be the St. Louis Blues for me. Give me them at plus 104. So looking for a higher scoring game in this one as well. If you want to bet Dallas at first period, their first period trends, they've been able to win the last 4 in the first period. If you want to look at Mikko Rantanen, he's been able to score the first goal in 3 of the last 4 road games versus the Blues. So that puts you on the first period for the Stars, puts you on Mikko Rantanen for the first goal. And then at that point, if you want to come back in on St. Louis on the puck line, because they have covered the puck line in their last 9 off a loss, they've also won those last 5 home games as a dog. So I'll take a chance on the St. Louis Blues straight up for the win. The Nashville Predators and the Winnipeg Jets. I'm dropping the juice on the Winnipeg Jets. I expect them to take this one in regulation. They are off a 2-game road trip, so I can't take puck line, but regulation at minus 120. If with how clean this team is playing in the neutral zone with their elite power play, they should be and kill. They should be able to come out nice and strong versus the Preds. I'm going to take Mark Scheifele for the 2+ points. He's looking to break Blake Wheeler's 812-point mark tonight. So he tied it. Now he's looking to break it, and I think he breaks it in a big way. Give me Mark Scheifele for 2+ points and the anytime goal. The Boston Bruins and the Colorado Avalanche. I am going to feel sick watching this game, but I'll take Boston plus 1.5. I do think Boston, if they can come out and control that neutral zone, not allow the rush by the Colorado Avalanche out of their zone into Boston's, that we will see Boston keep it tight. Plus 1.5 here for the Boston Bruins on the puck line. They've covered the puck line in the last 8 versus the Colorado Avalanche. Now, if you want to look at Zacha to record an assist, he's been able to do so in 8 of the last 10 appearances versus the Colorado Avalanche. He's plus 190, plus 195 for that assist tonight. And I would also look at this one to be a lower scoring game. I'm not expecting a ton of goals in it. The Carolina Hurricanes and the LA Kings. Darcy Camper needs to come through for us tonight. The LA Kings have not been playing up to their potential. They have been looking terrible out there. They get it right. They've lost both of their first home games. This is their first win, in my opinion. I would even be comfortable. You're getting them on the money line at minus 102. I would take them at the reverse puck line, laying a goal and a half with that great plus money. That coming in at plus 280, laying a goal and a half for the LA Kings. I think they get it done, but this is probably going to be that lower scoring game. So you got to hope for the empty netter. I'll take the first period under 1.5 goals. We know the Canes are so solid on the defensive side, and the Kings need to bring that defense. I'd look at Kempe and Kuzmenko to come out strong. Remember, Kopitar out of this. I'd also look at a couple other of those playmakers. They've got great playmakers, Quinn Byfield as well. Pittsburgh Penguins and the San Jose Sharks. The books are begging me to take the Sharks. Oh, you guys, I feel sick. They got the 3rd best power play in the league at 31.3%. They've lost 15 games straight. Give me this one just to go over the total 6.5. I'm expecting goals on both sides. It's a weak kill here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. If you're willing to put some money on the Sharks, I would do it, but I'm not recommending it. I'm going to throw away my money. Probably you guys don't throw away your money with me. Last but not least, the Calgary Flames. Give me the Calgary Flames plus 1.5 on the puck line versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Jonathan Huberdeau back in the lineup. Vegas hasn't covered the puck line in the last 7 at home. Yes, they covered the puck line in the last one versus Calgary, but I do think this is going to be a hard one for them with Noah Hanovan and Howden out of the lineup. Look for Dustin Wolf to stand tall between the pipes. So, that is where we're going with the recap. I appreciate you guys for joining me today. We're not going to do player props. We've sat here for an hour and a half. You guys, look at those line combos. We'll do more line combos tomorrow when we have a shorter day. These games are going to be kicking off pretty quick here, so I will let you guys get on with your day. You know those line combos. You know where to go. The second period is live right now between the Florida Panthers and the Buffalo Sabres. Again, the Sabres up 1-0 currently. The total 5.5. It's plus 120 to the over, minus 154 to the under. Wait for the juice to drop on the under. I don't think Florida is able to get the win here. If you do think Florida is live, they're plus 124 on the money line. I just can't go there. And I know you guys want me to build a quick long shot parlay, and I just don't want to do it today. Not today. We'll do it another day. I told you those guys to look at. We're going to go there. I was going to give you one. Give you time to write down the long shot. Okay. Just because you guys always ask so nicely. Okay, let's go. We're going to start off with the later games because if people are watching this later in the day, I want to make sure. Calgary and Vegas, I'm going to stay off of. Let's go with the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the San Jose Sharks because I do think this is where we're going to get some points in this game today. So let's do Macklin Celebrini to get another point, and let's do Raquel to get a point for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And yes, I'm going to go over these one more time. We're going to look at the LA Kings. I do think this is a lower scoring game, but Kempe and Fiala and Byfield have to step up. I will take Fiala for the anytime point for the LA Kings. I'm going to stay off Colorado. They're just too for the Canes. They're just too juicy. Colorado and Boston. No, I don't want to even look at those as well. The Winnipeg Jets, we're going to look at Mark Scheifele. Let's look at Mark Scheifele for the point. He's juicy at -160, but we're going to build this. And Kyle Connor, I can't put Kyle Connor in. He's over $3. St. Louis, the St. Louis Blues versus the Dallas Stars. I do think St. Louis is going to score with Robert Thomas, Jason Robinson as well. You guys throw out Jason Robinson for the Dallas Stars. I think he does get on the board. The Minnesota Wild versus the Flyers. We can still put a bet in this one. Kaprizov, you've got no, too juicy, guys. Okay, last one. We're gonna look at Montreal versus that's gonna be a lower scoring one. Edmonton versus New Jersey, lower scoring. The Islanders versus the Senators. This one is kicking off pretty quick, so get your bets in quickly on this one. I'm gonna look at Barzell and Jake Sanderson, not Drake, Jake and Drake. Okay. So this is where we're going. Are you guys ready? We're going to talk this long shot. They're saying something cannot be parlayed within my long shot. Just give me 1 second. I've got a ton of little things in here. Okay, I think we can do it now. We got a 7-leg parlay. 7-leg parlay, $10 pays you $182 and change. Firstly, we're going to hang on. I got to take a couple of things out. It's not going to pay off that well because we had a total in there as well. The Islanders versus the Senators. Give me Matthew Barzell for a point for the Islanders and then Jake Sanderson for the Ottawa Senators. Give me Robert Thomas for the point for the St. Louis Blues. Jason Robertson for the Dallas Stars. Give me Macklin Celebrini for the San Jose Sharks and Richard Raquel for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And that's it. 6 legs here. $10 plays $123.73. So one more time for the long shot player point parlay. Again, player points for all of these. First game up is early. So Matthew Barzell here of the Islanders for a point. Jake Sanderson of the Ottawa Senators for a point. If you just want to parlay them for a point, it's plus 167. But they're the first 2 legs of our parlay. So again, Matthew Barzell, Jake Sanderson between the Islanders and the Senators. Then when we look at the Dallas Stars versus the St. Louis Blues, Robert Thomas for a point for the Blues, Jason Robinson for the Stars. Parlayed together is plus 121. Again, like 3 and 4 of our long shot parlay. Robert Thomas and Jason Robinson. Third and fourth leg, fifth and sixth will be Macklin Celebrini of the Sharks and Richard Raquel here of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Again, Celebrini of the Sharks, Raquel for the Penguins. If you parlay just them together, it's plus 125. If you add them into our parlay, the 6 legs are Barzell of the Islanders, Sanderson of the Senators, Thomas of the Blues, Robertson of the Stars, Celebrini of the Sharks, Raquel of the Penguins. 6 legs pays plus $12.39, so $10 bet, $123.96. So there's your just few. You guys got them. Okay, you guys, all the best in all of your bets. We'll be back tomorrow. There's 4 games on deck tomorrow. We managed to go an hour and 35 minutes. I need a coffee. You guys need a coffee. Let's get back to watching these games. I appreciate each and every one of you for joining me here on the daily for Puck It with Joe. And make sure you do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button over on YouTube and the notification button, because you never know when I'm going to go live on the weekend. I'm going to try to get the show out early tomorrow, maybe even like super early. So if you miss it live, don't worry. But if you turn on the notification buttons, then you will know when it drops. We got a limited slate tomorrow. We got a bigger slate on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. It does seem like out there on the ice. Some of the Mondays are a little bit more hectic than others. This Monday doesn't look too bad. So we are live during the week at 1 p.m. Eastern. So always make sure you come over and join me. Again, I'll get those bookmarks up right away for you guys. I'm going to try to start bookmarking these games and when they drop. But if below the show, you can comment with what you're liking out there on the ice. Just help me with these algorithms so we can get this show back up to, we had 150 to 400 people watching live last season. So we just need to get the word out that Puck It with Joe is still around and it is back for the 5th season. And I appreciate you guys. So we'll be back tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Until then, stay hot. Let's make some freaking money.